Welcome to the Learning Center Daycare team. We are so happy to have you. For the first part of your orientation, you will watch the following presentations to learn more about TLC's handbook. Following each presentation, you will be asked to complete a quiz to make sure you are keeping up with all of the information. If you have any questions while you are going along with the presentation, please write them down and bring them up on your first training day. Starting with our onboarding process, you have already completed an online application. Whether it was through our website form or through a different hiring website, we already have this from you. Make sure you are familiar with where to access this application on our website. If you have anyone in your life interested in applying to TLC, you will know right where to direct them. By this point, you've completed all of these steps too, but we want to give you the inside scoop. After reviewing all potential applications, we go through creating our yes and no piles. To filter through our top candidates, we will call your references and ask about employment dates, wage ranges, and positions held to ensure all of the application information is correct. After confirming all of your information, we set up an interview and chose to hire you. And now, here we are in our online orientation. Gone are the days of long, overwhelming handbooks that put you to sleep while trying to read all of the company's policies and procedures. Instead, we are setting you up with an online training day so you can learn all of our important new employee information in a fun way. Grab a snack, sit back, and relax. Upon completing this online orientation, your first day at TLC will begin your in person orientation. Not only will you get to learn about the children and staff, you will learn about your classroom and any other classroom you may be in. Within your orientation and training, you will learn about our first aid, medication, and emergency procedures, use of our classroom clipboard and our communication app, Lilio, as well as child management techniques in our schedules. Throughout your onboarding process, you will be asked to complete and submit many sections of paperwork. These will include the following: staff record form, background check, proof of professional qualifications, employment eligibility verification, W-4 form, orientation confirmation, and emergency form. Along with these, you will be asked to undergo a health exam that includes screening for communicable disease. You will be expected to complete your health exam within 30 days of your hire date and turn in all of your necessary paperwork in a timely manner. Throughout your time at TLC, annual formal performance evaluations may be conducted to provide both supervisors and employees the opportunity to discuss job tasks, identify and correct weaknesses, encourage and recognize strengths, and discuss positive, purposeful approaches for meeting goals. Staff will provide their personal input through self evaluation by filling out a Youngstar professional development plan, and will also set goals using that form. Direct supervisors will fill out assessments for staff annually, and they will be reviewed together and will be kept confidential. TLC may offer wage increases at the time of annual performance review based upon individual evaluation and consideration. At the Learning Center Daycare, we take all reasonable precautions to protect your personal information. Managers and other employees have a responsibility to respect and maintain the confidentiality of employee medical information. Not only do we protect your information, but you are also required to keep all children information completely confidential. It is essential that conversations with parents regarding their children be conducted in a confidential manner so that other parents and staff who are not involved with the child care do not overhear comments regarding the child in question. Under no circumstances shall employees discuss specific issues related to a child's behavior at TLC with anyone other than the child's parents, guardians, or other authorized individual. Employees are strictly prohibited from disclosing any confidential information or data learned in the course of their employment to any individuals not employed by TLC, except otherwise required by law. Anyone inappropriately disclosing such information is subject to disciplinary action, up to and including termination of employment. When you begin your in person orientations, you will learn more about the app we use to communicate with parents, Lilio. Each classroom is equipped with a tablet to add all of the entries throughout the day. You will use this app to send home daily reports on their child's day. This will include what they ate, learned, and worked on, which also may include photos. Teachers must remain positive during all parent interactions at drop off, pickup, and on the Lilio app. You will need to be proactive and frequent with parent communication regarding behavior and development. When a problem arises, the teacher should be ready to provide constructive suggestions to the parent or guardian. When you begin your in person orientations, you will learn more about the app we use to communicate with parents, Lilio. Each classroom is equipped with a tablet to add all of the entries throughout the day. You will use this app to send home daily reports on their child's day. This will include what they ate, learned, and worked on, which also may include. Please make sure all information to other teachers about a child in your care or another staff member is conveyed in a professional and constructive manner. Gossip between teachers should not occur and will not be tolerated. All necessary communications between the director and the team of staff can be found via Google Classroom on the Learning Centers page. You will be invited to join this classroom at some point during your onboarding. This should be checked daily for any necessary announcements. Monthly staff meetings will occur once a month and are mandatory for all staff to attend. If you are unable to attend a staff meeting, you must speak to the director about your absence as soon as the staff meeting is scheduled. The director and assistant director maintain an open door policy. Please come by the office with any problems, questions, celebrations, or suggestions you may have as a staff member. Serious consideration will be given to any and all communication, but we reserve the right as administration to make the best decision for the Learning Center daycare at large and expect staff to be supportive of or ask for clarification regarding decisions in lieu of discussing with coworkers. When communicating with children, it is best to be on their level to have a good quality conversation. Most of your day will consist of interacting and talking to the children, so make sure you're at their level when doing so. Avoid inappropriate conversations that should not be utilized at daycare or around children. Remember, we're here for the kids. They are our main concern, and we are teaching them how to properly and appropriately communicate. Only communicate to the children with their proper name without use of a nickname. When necessary, make sure to communicate and/or plan individualized programming to meet a child's need in your room to accommodate all children in our center. Termination can occur in different forms, whether that be voluntary or involuntary, and by the employee or the organization. There are four common types: resignation, discharge, layoff, and retirement. Take a moment to familiarize yourself with these kinds of termination. Since employment with TLC is based on mutual consent, both the employee and TLC have the right to terminate employment at will at any time. You have completed part one. Pause the slideshow and follow the link to complete the quiz. Then come back and we will continue on. Welcome back for part two of our online orientation. If you haven't already, grab a drink of water and stretch your legs. Let's get back into it. We will begin going through some general staff policies. We will only be touching on a few key policies you will need to know for your beginning shifts, so make sure you read through the policies manual before coming in for your first shift to be completely educated. When you come to work, all employees are asked to park on North 2nd Street or in the lot located northeast of the rear building next to our playground. Employees are not allowed to park next to or in front of the building unless they have permission from the administrator or director. To maintain a safe and productive work environment, TLC expects employees to be reliable and punctual in reporting for scheduled work. If an employee cannot report to work, that employee must notify TLC at 582-3998 at least 1 hour prior to the start of their shift, or by email the director, Tammy Brooks. If no notification or late notice is given, the absence will be considered unexcused. 3 unexcused absences will result in termination of employment. However, any single unexcused absence or tardiness may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of the employee in the sole discretion of TLC. You are expected to come to work before your scheduled time so you have enough time to put your things away, settle in, and get into your classroom on time. During business hours, employees are expected to present a clean and neat appearance and to dress according to the requirements of their position. Some appropriate clothing choices would be TLC purple work t-shirts, long sleeves, and sweatshirts. These shirts are available for purchase through the office. TLC requires that employees wear these t-shirts whenever they are working for TLC. Shirts shall be returned to TLC before collecting your last check. You may wear dresses and skirts of appropriate lengths, slacks and jeans in good conditions without holes or tears, and shorts may be worn if they are of the appropriate length. Tennis shoes and flats are acceptable as long as they are in good repair. Inappropriate clothing would be such as see-through clothing like leggings or spandex, no pajama pants or sweatpants, no mini skirts, short shorts, or cut-off jeans. For employee child safety, sandals and flip-flops and backless shoes are not allowed. Tattoos are acceptable and to be shown only if they are deemed child appropriate by the director. If an employee has inappropriate tattoos, they must remain covered by clothing at all times. While working with children at TLC, the only body piercings that are deemed acceptable are in the ears. Any other piercing must be covered by clothing at all times or removed prior to arriving at work. For employee safety and the safety of the children, no loop or dangle earrings are allowed and no gauges. Consult the director or administrator if you have any questions as to what constitutes appropriate attire. As stated in Part 1, you will be required to complete a health exam by a physician of your choice within 30 days of your hire date. Now, we want to cover our sick policy while employed at the Learning Center daycare. Unpaid sick leave is granted to an employee when they are ill or when they have scheduled doctor or dentist appointments that cannot be scheduled during non work hours. Approval prior to your appointment is needed. Proof of that appointment may be requested. Be sure to let your director know as soon as you find out about a future appointment. If you are ill for 3 continuous workdays or 3 days within a 10-day period, a doctor's certificate will be required. Any employee unable to report to work should notify Tammy Brooks or another person appointed at least 1 hour before the start of their shift. If late or no notification is given, your absence will be reported as unexcused. 3 unexcused absences will result in termination of the employee. Full-time employees receive holiday pay when the center is closed for their yearly holidays. Calling in sick the day before or the day after a holiday will result in a forfeit of that holiday pay. If the employee goes home sick the day before or after the holiday, they must work at least half of their shift to qualify for holiday pay. Use of TLC telephones is for business purposes only. Personal use of the phones should be limited to emergencies. Unless authorized by an administrator, employees cannot make or receive personal phone calls on our phones during work hours. Along with this, only designated staff should answer the TLC phone. To ensure effective telephone communications, employees should always use the approved greeting and speak in a courteous and professional manner. TLC reserves the right to monitor calls made from or received on their telephones. Therefore, no employee should expect that conversations made on TLC phones will be private. Employees are not permitted to have their cellular phones in their possession while working with the children. Personal use will only be allowed on breaks. Personal cell phones must be kept in a locker or left out of work and may not be visible to children or parents. It is the responsibility of each employee to notify TLC about any changes in personal data. This includes things like email, phone number, mailing address, name change, emergency contacts, education accomplishments, number and name of dependents, and any other reports that should be accurate and current at all times. Notify Tammy Brooks or another person appointed. The Learning Center takes employee safety very seriously. In order to provide a safe environment, a few rules should be followed. No horseplay or roughhousing between employees to avoid injuries. Always use any equipment or machinery properly and only for its intended use. Report any workplace condition that you believe to be unsafe so TLC can investigate the matter quickly. Along with this, be sure to report any employee injury as well. Upon arriving to the center, each child should be observed by their teacher for any illness or injury. Any injury to the child or evidence of unusual bruises, lacerations, or burns received by a child in or out of TLC will be recorded in a medications and injury logbook and reported immediately to the director or administrator or another person in charge of the center. If a child is ill with a sore throat, inflammation of the eyes, fever, lice, ringworm of the scalp, rash, vomiting, diarrhea, or other illness or condition having the potential to affect the health of another person is observed in TLC, further action is required. When seeing these illness symptoms, the child should be isolated. The isolation area at TLC is in the director's office. The child in the isolation area will be provided a sleeping bag and will be accompanied by an employee. Then, the child's parent or designated person will be contacted as soon as possible once the illness is discovered, and arrangements will be made to remove the child from the center. Wisconsin state law mandates staff to report any suspected child abuse or neglect. If an employee knows or has reasonable cause to suspect that a child has been abused or neglected, the employee will immediately contact the director. As mandated reporters, the employee reporting the occurrence will contact Winnebago County Department of Social Services. All information of reporting will be kept confidential. Failure to report the occurrence may result in a fine or imprisonment. TLC will also provide an annual in-service for staff on the law's detection and reporting of child abuse and neglect. All employees are required to read and be familiar with Chapter DHS 145 for control of communicable diseases. Here's what it states. If a child has a reportable communicable disease, they may not be allowed to come or remain at TLC during the time that they are contagious. When an enrolled child at TLC has a reportable communicable disease, such as chickenpox, measles, mumps, hepatitis, etc., the local health officer, along with all parents of the exposed children, will be notified. If the parents provide a doctor's note from their physician stating that the child's condition is no longer contagious or their absence followed the usual incubation period determined by the health department, the child may return to TLC. Employees will follow universal standard precautions when exposed to blood or bodily fluids such as vomit, urine, feces, tissue discharge, etc. Use single use disposable gloves when in contact with any bodily fluids or blood. Clean and disinfect any spilled areas of the substance and the areas around. After removing the gloves, wash your hands with soap and water. Every child must be under supervision at all times. No child or group of children can ever be left alone. Employees are responsible to know which children are in their care and where their children are at all times. In the unlikely event of a child to become lost while in the center on a field trip, all available staff should begin searching the premises and the director should be notified immediately. If the child is not found within 10 minutes of searching, the parent and the police department should be contacted. In the event of an accident or injury while at the center or on a field trip, forms will be filled out and sent home by the teacher that witnessed and dealt with the situation. To avoid these things, make sure you are always paying attention to your children and spreading out around the room or playground to be sure all areas are covered. Always be ready to assist and realize that classroom, playground, or field trip time is never a time for teachers to socialize by themselves without paying attention to their class. It is very important that all employees report any unsafe conditions, such as fire hazards, that could result in an emergency or injury. Inside of each classroom, you will find their emergency regulations and routes. On your first day, please locate these and read through them. You will become familiar with our fire evacuation route, safety place for tornadoes, and our emergency policy to follow. Each classroom has different evacuation routes, so become familiar with each one if you are rotating between classrooms throughout your employment. In addition to educational standards being met depending on the position you are working at TLC, all part-time and full-time staff members must complete an infant and child CPR with AED course within 3 months and will be required to maintain that certificate while they work at the Learning Center. You will also need to take a SIDS training course. If you are coming into the center as a lead teacher in an infant or toddler room, you will need to complete 15 or more hours specifically training in those rooms. Lastly, you will complete training that covers child abuse and neglect, how to identify it, and procedures to report it. This topic will be refreshed at least every 2 years. Pause this recording, click the link at the bottom of the screen, and complete the Wisconsin mandated reporter online training. Once you have finished the training, download your certificate of completion and print or email it to Tammy Brooks. You have completed part 2. Pause the slideshow and click the link to complete the quiz. Then come back and we will continue. Welcome back for part 3 of our online orientation. If you haven't already, grab a drink of water and stretch your legs. Let's get back into it. Compensation is established and approved by TLC administration for all staff. The hourly amount will be competitive with the local market and commensurate with experience and education. TLC uses an online system called Patriot Software. This is where you will find all of your check stubs and pay information. On the website, you can update your tax information and direct deposit information. All employees are paid bi-weekly on Fridays through automatic deposit. In the event that a regularly scheduled payday falls on a day off, such as a holiday, employees will receive pay on the next day of work after the regularly scheduled payday. TLC will make the following deductions from an employee's paycheck: federal income tax, state income tax, Social Security and Medicare, and court-ordered garnishments. Other deductions may be made at employees' request, which include child care tuition, AFLAC insurance, and IRA. Eligible employees will receive the following benefits. TLC will match 3% in a simple IRA plan. Make sure you speak to Tammy during your onboarding process about this plan if you are interested. We also provide workman's comp insurance, which will provide benefits for injury or illness that's sustained in the course of their employment that requires medical, surgical, or hospital treatment. Tammy Brooks must be contacted immediately to report injury or illness. As a lead teacher at TLC, a minimum of 2 hours paid planning time is scheduled each week to prepare a quality lesson plan for your classroom. And lastly, we provide a safe, private place for moms to pump or breastfeed while at work, along with providing a refrigerator for milk, flexible breaks, and breastfeeding information and support. We have already covered sick leave, but let's do a quick recap. If you're going to call in sick, you must do so at least 1 hour before your scheduled time to come in. If you need off for an appointment, request that time with Tammy Brooks in advance. And if you are sick for more than 3 days, you will be required to present a doctor's note. TLC encourages employees to fulfill their civic responsibilities by participating in elections. Employees should find time to vote either before or after their regular work schedule. Time off will not be provided for voting. Employees who wish to take time off due to the death of an immediate family member should notify their supervisor immediately. Unpaid time off for no more than 3 days may be granted to allow the employee time to attend the funeral and make necessary arrangements associated with the death. Approval of bereavement leave will occur in the absence of unusual operating requirements. TLC defines immediate family as the employee's spouse, parent, child, or sibling, the employee's spouse's parent, child, or sibling, and the employee's child's spouse, grandparent, or grandchildren. TLC encourages employees to fulfill their civic responsibility by serving jury duty when required. Employees may request unpaid jury duty leave for the length of the absence. Employees must show the jury duty summons to their supervisor as soon as possible so that the supervisor may make arrangements to accommodate their absence. Of course, employees are expected to report for work whenever the court schedule permits. Either TLC or the employee may request an excuse from jury duty if the TLC's judgment the employee absence would create serious operational difficulties. Benefits accruals such as vacations or holiday benefits will be suspended during unpaid jury duty leave and will resume upon return to active employment. TLC encourages employees to appear in court for witness duty when subpoenaed. To do so, employees will be granted unpaid time off to appear in court as a witness when requested by a party other than TLC. If employees have been subpoenaed or otherwise requested to testify as witness by TLC, they will receive paid time off for the entire period of witness duty. The subpoena should be shown to the employee supervisor immediately after it is received so the operating requirements can be adjusted where necessary to accommodate the employee's absence. The employee is expected to report for work whenever the court schedule permits. An unpaid military leave of absence will be granted to all employees except those occupying temporary positions to attend scheduled drills or training, or if called to active duty within the U.S. Armed Services. After completing 90 days at TLC, we provide leaves of absence without pay to eligible regular full-time employees who wish to take time off from work duties to fulfill personal obligations. You may take up to 45 calendar days every year of unpaid time. Vacation time off with pay is available to eligible employees to provide opportunities for rest, relaxation, and personal pursuits. Regular full-time employees are eligible to earn and use vacation time. After 1 year of employment, you will receive 40 hours of vacation time each year. Once you are here for 3 years, that will increase to 80 hours. Vacation days must be used within the year that they are earned or they will be lost. Vacation can only be taken and will only be paid with 2 months advance notice. Notice must be given in writing to Tammy Brooks or her designee. Special circumstances can be presented to Tammy Brooks or her designee, and exceptions may be granted in her or her designee's sole discretion. Upon termination of employment, employees may be paid for unused vacation time that has been earned through the last day of work, provided the employee gives a 2 weeks notice. However, if TLC terminates employment for activity in its sole discretion, it considers misconduct, forfeit of unused vacation time may result. TLC will grant holiday time off to all employees on holidays such as New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. We are also closed the week for spring break according to Winneconne School District and the week between Christmas and New Year's. TLC will grant paid time off to an eligible employee who have completed 180 calendar days of service in an eligible employment classification. Holiday pay will be calculated based on the employee's straight time pay rate times the number of hours the employee would otherwise have worked on that day. Regular full-time employees are all eligible for this. Recall part 2 when we discussed that calling in sick the day before or after a holiday will forfeit your holiday pay. Purchases may be reimbursed between $5 and $20 for curriculum-related resources or items that will directly impact student learning. However, after checking resources, please also check with the director prior to purchase to ensure we do not already own the items or can get a better bulk price. Receipts must be turned in within 15 days of purchase to be considered for reimbursement. Most room decorations, space organizers, dollar store treasures, stickers, borders, etc. will not be reimbursed. We have a lot of resources already. Items over $20 must be approved in advance by the director. Turning in a receipt does not ensure reimbursement. It is up to the director's discretion as to whether the items qualify for reimbursement. TLC will pay for pre-approved training costs. Employees are not paid for their time while attending outside trainings. CPR and first aid training will be paid for by TLC when a staff participates and NEAT training offered on site. If you are unable to attend, you must pay for your mandatory training. TLC will reimburse employees 100% of the cost of pre approved continuing education or in service for those staff receiving an A upon course completion. 85% will be reimbursed for a B grade. Any grade below a B will not entitle the employee to any tuition reimbursement. Employees must work for TLC an additional year after course completion, or they will be required to reimburse TLC its portion of the tuition cost. We also work with different continuing education programs to make your education more affordable with scholarships and grants. You will learn more information about this in your handbook. All regular full-time employees are provided with one meal period of 30 minutes in length each workday. Each day, you will be provided an unpaid, pre-scheduled time and will be relieved of all active responsibilities and restrictions. You may leave campus and go get food, or bring your own food and use our staff room. The staff room has a fridge and freezer, microwave, and Keurig coffee maker. We ask that you clean up after yourself in the staff room. Overtime hours may be distributed and scheduled when needs cannot be met. When possible, an advance notice will be provided to the employees that need to be working overtime hours. For all non-exempt employees, time and a half hourly pay will be paid out for all hours worked above 40 in a week's time. All employees are expected to report for work during inclement weather conditions if TLC does not declare an emergency closing. If you are scheduled to work and are unable to come in due to the weather, you must notify Tammy Brooks. At that point, she will determine to authorize an absence. If weather conditions cause a delay in reporting to work, it will be considered excused and you will not be marked tardy. If the Learning Center daycare decides to close their center, communications will be through Google Classroom and or over email. If the center must close for any reason, employees will still receive pay for the normal hours they would have worked. You have completed part 3. Pause the slideshow and click the link to complete the quiz. Then come back and we will continue on. Welcome back for part 4 of our online orientation. If you haven't already, grab a drink of water and stretch your legs. Let's get back into it. Lead teachers will maintain and post well-formulated lesson plans each week, showing activities for each learning domain from Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards. TLC believes it is important to teach based on themes, so the toys, books, and activities are being rotated often. Children learn best through play, so providing them with different resources in the classroom is very important. You will have plenty of time to complete these tasks since you'll be receiving at least 2 hours a week of planning time as a lead teacher. Activities should be planned that help children reach their individualized goals. Lesson plans are to be hung outside the classroom and visible to anyone who wishes to view them. A copy of the lesson plan that are not visible to parents should contain individualized goals for each child. There's also an option to enter lesson plans into Lilio where you can list each standards from Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards the child will be focusing on for the activity. Parents will be able to view this from their end of the app as well. TLC uses Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards, otherwise known as WEMLs, as a curriculum alignment tool that allows us to understand what students should know and be able to do. WEMLs breaks things down into 5 categories stated on the right of your screen. As you follow these categories and grow with your children, you will begin to go through the WEML's teaching cycle. This cycle will continue around from assessments to planning to implementing. All of these steps will be part of your weekly lesson planning. For more information on WEMLs, click the link on the slide and visit their online PDF. TLC believes that children learn best through play. Therefore, it is extremely important that the room arrangement sets children up for success as it directly affects their learning, behavior management, and focus. Centers dedicated to specific activities should be present and clearly labeled in each classroom. Center areas should include library, science, math and fine motor, dramatic play, blocks, art, and quiet area. We use an online Ages and Stages questionnaire, otherwise known as ASQ, for our screening purposes. This is something we have parents fill out as part of the enrollment. It will then automatically be sent again for parents to fill out every 6 months. By participating in an online ASQ, parents are able to receive more information about the development of their children immediately. If a child is lagging in a specific area, parents will be given resources to help. TLC uses individual child portfolios to document each child's progress over time. These portfolios are the ongoing assessments part of the teaching cycle. Portfolios contain records of the child's process of learning, including what the child has learned and how the child has gone about learning, how the child thinks, questions, analyzes, synthesizes, produces, and creates, how the child interacts with others, goals for the child's outcomes, and artifacts or samples of the child's work. You will also determine goals for each child based on age appropriate developmental checklists based on WEMLs. Individualized goals are the planning and curriculum part of the teaching cycle, making sure all goals are reachable and obtainable, and that your lesson plan contains activities that help the children reach their goal. Completing the activities on the lesson plans with individualized goals is the implementation part of the teaching cycle. TLC has moved to online portfolios, making it easier to share with parents. This information should be shared in parent conferences. If a child's development is outside the typical norm, this is information that should be shared to parents immediately. The Learning Center daycare has a crazy amount of resources. Our basement is overflowing with toys, books, puzzles, curriculum tools, supplies, and so much more. Please ask if you need any sort of resources for your classroom. All items are to be shared between the classrooms, and make sure to return resources back to their proper location after you use them. If you are in need of books, we have so many to choose from in the basement. There are sections of board books, young kid books, and a section for older kid books. You can find giant books in the art room and CD or tape books in the laundry room. If you are in need of a specific book that we do not have, you may use the Learning Center's library card and head over to the Winnicott Public Library that is just a block away. Another tool you can find in the basement is the laminator. Laminating pages that are used often can prolong the life of the activity. The laminator should only be used by people that are specifically trained on how to use it. If you need something laminated, let Tammy or Ashley know and or put it in the front office. Laminating tends to get done in larger batches, so plan your laminating ahead of time to assure it's ready. A huge resource for the classrooms is our theme bins. These are typically found on the shelving in the laundry room and or in the racquetball room in the lower part of the basement. We have many bins of different themes ranging from holidays, seasons, books, topics, celebrations, animals, and so much more. When you begin planning, we highly recommend you check these out to see what you can utilize in the future. Each bin will contain things like books, posters, decorations, games, toys, projects, etc. When you're finished with the bins, make sure that everything is returned and do not add items into the bins that do not relate to the subject. All bins should return to the basement where they were found. There are certain behaviors that are unacceptable and will need to be addressed by a teacher immediately. These behaviors will be handled by the teacher on an individual basis depending on the severity and frequency. These are behaviors like disrespect for authority, classroom disruption, harassment of peers or bullying, physical aggression, stealing, lying, and mistreatment of school property. There are some general behavior guidelines we like to follow by using positive reinforcement. In order to prevent behavior problems, make sure you are aware of what is happening in your classroom at all times. It is important to be positive with the children and help them find positive substitutes for their inappropriate behaviors. Use positive statements, give them reasons, and answer their questions. A good example of our positive reinforcement guidelines is during meal times. So let's take a look. While at the lunch table with your class, remember that this is a fun, typical time for them to socialize with their friends. We should always encourage our students to try different foods that we have to offer, but we will never force them to eat. Withholding food cannot be used as a punishment, and using food as a reward is also prohibited. Staff will be there the entire mealtime to socialize with the kids. The children can be given seconds of food even if they have not finished their entire plate, and they are more than welcome to be done eating their meal without finishing all of their food. We are promoting positive food experiences with them and will not be negatively impacting their day by forcing them to eat things they do not want. Here are some no's of discipline for TLC. In addition to the food related examples we just covered, physical punishment is not permitted at any time. Emotional or verbal abuse is also not permitted, and punishment for things like lapses in toilet training is strictly prohibited. At the Learning Center, we use preventative and conscious discipline, which helps improve children's self esteem, problem solving skills, and encourages pre social behaviors. This type of discipline involves things like providing interesting choice of activities to keep the children's attention, being consistent with positive communications and minimal attention given to misbehaviors, allowing children to problem solve amongst themselves, and arranging the environment that promotes positive behavior and self control. Create simple rules that are consistent, enforced, and clearly communicated to the children. When you encounter an unwanted behavior, redirect the child away from the problems and back into the positive interactions. By doing this, we are providing children with the opportunity and motivation to make choices that will help them function independently, develop social skills, respect the needs and rights of others, adapt to routines and simple rules, and become responsible group member. We understand that we are not always going to be able to calm children down and get a positive interaction from them within the classroom. In extreme situations, calmly remove the child from the classroom. State the rule that they violated and give them some time to calm down. Have them in a space where they are alone, but still attended to by the teacher. Do not place them in the corner or the hallway or any other humiliating situation. If you may bring the child up to the director's office until they calm down if needed. You've completed part 4. Pause the slideshow and click the link to complete the quiz. Then come back and we'll continue on. Welcome back for part 5 and our final part of the online orientation. You know the drill. If you haven't already, grab a drink of water and stretch your legs. Let's get back into it. Our mission is to provide quality care through play based learning environments that allow children to learn through discovery and experimentation. Our vision is to be a recognized leader in providing the best care for infants, toddlers, preschool, and school age children. Known and valued for our exceptional educational programs, talented teams, and community relationships, we pride ourselves on our unique blend of fun and learning in a safe and nurturing environment. Now, let's dive into our core values: community, adventure, responsibility, empathy, and success. The first part of TLC Cares is community. We are so fortunate to think of everyone here as family, from our parents to our children to our staff. We are here for everyone as much as possible. TLC enjoys participating in events that the community has, such as Sovereign State, Fall Fest, library programs, and more. We like everyone to be included in our community, and we respect all different types of culture and viewpoints. Next is adventure. At the Learning Center, we are big believers in allowing children to learn through play. It is our job as teachers to watch and listen to the children's cues and teach them things as they are ready and wanting to learn it. Staff should be involved with their children in creating a fun, positive environment in their classrooms. Children are always ready to learn and explore. It is so important that all staff members are holding each other responsible and accountable. Parents are trusting us with their most precious gifts, their children. It is our responsibility to provide a safe and empathetic environment for our children. Along with that, teachers are responsible for maintaining daily routines and hygiene practices, engaging in age appropriate activities and play based learning, managing children's behaviors and nurturing social skills, recording children's process and reporting back to parents, and establishing relationships with parents and families. Children are like sponges, they're constantly soaking up everything that's going on around them. It is important for us as teachers to display empathy in how to treat others. This will help the children learn to do the same thing. Our center runs best when we are setting each other up for success. This means setting the children, their parents, and your coworkers up for success every day. Work together and create a strong environment to learn in and succeed in. The Learning Center Daycare serves parents as well as children ages 2 weeks to 12 years. We focus on providing quality care for families of all different kinds. We believe that parents are a child's first and most important teachers. We strive to partner with parents to provide a positive, appropriate learning environment that will develop the children to reach their greatest potential. Our program offers a curriculum that develops children as a whole. We align our curriculum with Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards to make sure we work on social and emotional skills, cognitive and general knowledge skills, language skills, health and physical development, and approaches to learning. Through hands on play in small and large groups, we prepare our students for the next step of their journey. TLC offers full time, year round care with meals provided. We strive to hit all of our goals and check all of our boxes. We have fun. Children are able to grow and play, and our curriculum provides opportunities for them each day. We meet each child where they are and build on their knowledge in small, manageable steps. Parents are the child's first and most important teachers. By partnering with parents, we can most effectively benefit the child in all areas of development. We uphold and model our core values. TLC cares. Congratulations, you have completed our fifth and final part of our online orientation video. Click the link below to take the quiz and follow up with Tammy on further onboarding processes.